keyboard is loud.
Yeah, it's right next to my microphone.
Aw. All right, yeah, so we're live. Welcome everybody to the game of spoilers.
Yes.
Yes,
It's been too long
too
since the
long.
last time.
Like 1.5 years or so ish.
Something like that.
Um,
I think it's closer to 2 years, actually. Yeah, because the last season was, yeah, something like that. It's closer to 2 years. That's crazy.
mm, uh, did we remember to tell people that we were starting right now? I don't think I did.
Well, I have in Discord earlier today,
Yeah.
and I have reminded people on Instagram.
Awesome.
So, yes, I
I
think we
will.
have.
I will remind people on Instagram as well in my stories just now. Like we've started, bitches.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, ho, let's go.
Maybe people are just, busy doing other
Oh,
things. You never know.
yeah. It's earlier in the evening than what we usually stream.
Yeah, but that's just because we have lots of stuff to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yes, crazy photo. I will not talk about. Let's go.
We're professionals here, I
Oh,
promise.
totally.
uh,
But yeah, maybe you want to talk a little bit about like what the setup for the evening is, and like
yes.
what are we gonna be doing, basically.
Okay, so Game of Spoilers, it says, it's as the name says, it's basically spoiler warning from the get-go. We're going to talk about the last episode of, I almost said The Kestrels by Fateful Fumble. My brain is destroyed. We're going to talk about the last episode of the first season. No, the first episode of the last season. Oh my gosh. Words. Of Game of Thrones. So we're going to discuss the episode. We're going to go through every scene and we're going to try and decipher if there's anything to decipher. We're going to just talk a little bit about what we think is going to happen, what we hope will happen, and or just, crazy ass conspiracy theories as we go along because the opportunities are plenty.
Oh, yes. Rich, one might say.
Mm-hmm. So there we have it. First of all, we're going to start by just going through the episode, scene by scene, and just talk a little bit about, costumes, what happened, and stuff like that. And at the end, we're just going to have like an open discussion about everything else, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, so we're gonna try not to jump like too far ahead, but sometimes we just get too excited and we get, derailed.
Yeah, it happens.
So yes, since it's 2 years since the last episode of Game of Thrones went on air, almost, I thought we're just gonna take like a short recap of what happened in the very, very last episode. So the last things we saw was that Littlefinger got killed. I don't believe he's dead. Really. I actually don't think he's dead. There's a theory about him they're not being dead, and it's crazy and plausible, but I'm really on that theory.
I guess we'll talk about that later.
Maybe, or just if it kind of something that pinpoints towards that actually being a thing later on. But the theory about Littlefinger is basically that he paid a faceless man to portray as him because he has a Bravos coin and he is from Bravos, or his family is from Bravos.
That could possibly be a thing.
Yeah, and there is a meeting in one of the episodes in the last season that he meets a woman in Winterfell. She whispers something to him, and he pays her. So that's where, and some people have, because you can only hear like And some people has put up the gain on the sound, so it sounds like she's saying, "Your time's up."
Oh.
And he's like, "Here, have my Bravas coin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kill you instead." So that's the theory, that Littlefinger isn't really dead.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we also see the Jon and Daenerys hanky panky scene, while Bran is talking about them being related.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
She's his auntie.
Yes,
It's just wrong.
but also Jon Snow confirmed Targaryen.
Mm-hmm.
And we also see that the dead has gone through the wall, basically.
Yeah.
So that's basically what happens in the last episode.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The wall falls.
The wall falls, and I'm so scared for one of my favorite characters, Tormund Giantsbane. I'm like, no, don't die. Don't die from me.
You might not be safe. No, but then again, no one is, so.
Oh no, it's Game of Thrones. I'm open for everything, even though it will bring sadness into my life. Okay.
So let's
start. The first thing is the intro. And they changed the intro every single season.
Yeah, but this year it's gotten like a really big revamp.
Oh, yes.
As compared to previous season.
It is. Was there anything in particular you noticed or thought about while watching it?
Well, not so much in terms of like clues for the episode, but I did really like the fact that they went inside some of the buildings. Like, they went inside Winterfell and they went inside King's Landing, so you know that, and you already know, but that kind of tells me that they're gonna put emphasis on these two places.
Yeah.
Because you could see, like, the crypt underneath Winterfell and the cellars or catacombs beneath King's Landing where the dragon's head is stored.
Yeah.
So yeah, that basically tells us that that's going to be like important places where a lot of shit happens, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I also noticed that they kind of viewed the intro from the Night King's perspective. Like, they went through the wall first.
Yeah.
And then they kind of, it was like, I don't know, I just got the feeling of it being a road almost, because all the ground was like bricks. And they kind of changed as long as they got like downwards towards Winterfell and then King's Landing, the end of it. And also, one thing I noticed was when they change from when they went into Winterfell, you see one of those kind of ring thingies that goes through the screen.
Yeah.
Kind of metal, it looks like a ring, and it has some signias on it. And what concerns me is that on the first kind of image you see is that it's a lion. I cannot tell if the lion looks like torn up or normal, but it's a lion. And there's a shape that looks like a wolf in the middle that's hanged. And it's a White Walker with a wolf's head in its hand.
Right. Yeah, I did notice that, actually.
Does that mean that the Starks will die in Winterfell?
I sure hope not, but it might mean that some Starks will die. Or at least
maybe
one Stark will die.
Yeah.
Potentially. But it's hard to tell. But it might be like a little Easter egg waiting to happen.
Maybe. It concerned me a lot, at least. I was like, oh my gosh, and I had to go back and look at it again and then pause it just to be like, did I see?
What I saw?
That. Yeah. And the same when they venture into King's Landing, you see the same kind of image, but then it's instead of the lion and the wolf and stuff, it's dragons, only dragons. And I don't know. So will it be like the Starks will be left in Winterfell and the dragons will...
Or maybe the North will fall and everyone will have to go south.
Yeah, and I guess that's what they've been put up this far anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's
Anyway,
a possibility. So yeah,
it
an
is
interesting new intro, for sure.
for sure. Jinx.
Jinx
Okay,
again.
now that's all I have for intro. What do you think about like the opening scene? Because you can see there's a boy that's running through Winterfell, greeting the new guests, and it's like a direct image of the first pilot episode ever.
Yeah, it's like a throwback to when Arya was watching King Robert come into Winterfell. Only
Yeah,
now she's giving room for this little kid to run by and see what's happening. I think the kid is the young Lord Umber that you see later in the episode, but I'm not
maybe.
sure. I can't remember.
No, I didn't. I didn't think about that, so I don't know. Maybe. But it's a nice scene, and they use the same music as they did in the first pilot episode as well,
I did
which
not
is
notice
a
that, but
just
that's
no,
cool.
I didn't. I just heard. I didn't notice it either, but I saw it in like someone has done a Decipher episode on YouTube. Not that they didn't really decipher much because I don't know. It just felt like there's a lot of throwbacks. There's a lot of imagery instead of hinting. I think.
It's very like this is where we are. All the pieces are coming together because it's basically one big ass reunion. Everyone is collected for the first time in forever in like one place, except for Cersei.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of meetings that happens in the season and in this episode that I waited for in the last one, like when Arya sees Jon for the first time. That's like a major moment for me.
So good.
Yeah, and also when she sees Gendry, because that's also like something that I think she's wanted to do for a long time, and also the Hound. Like both when Arya sees the Hound and Gendry, she didn't really expect it.
No, I didn't think she ever thought she would see them again.
No.
And I like that. Well, we'll get to that when we talk about it, I guess, but more about Gendry later.
You can say what you want to now if you
like,
want to.
I appreciated the fact that they kind of just fell into old habits, like, as you say, milady, and she kind of just smiles wryly and like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. That part was really nice too. And
Nice
if you watch the past episodes as well, the last thing Gendry said to her was something in the lines of "Next time you'll be my lady" or something like that. So that was a very nice thing they added, and something that I really wanted. I've wanted for a long time to actually see. Is there anything we want to say more about that? Like, I just think they used first scene to introduce which characters are here. Yeah. Like Varys and Tyrion's obviously there. You see Jorah. You see like everyone just going
Grey
past.
Worm and the Sunday. Everyone.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're not exactly being welcomed with open arms because Northerners are, skeptical and.
Oh yeah.
All of that.
It doesn't help when the dragons arrive either.
No.
But I think people thought they were cool. Like Arya clearly is like, wow. Sansa doesn't look that amused.
No, but she's pissed that Jon gave up his crown, so I get that.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna, one more thing is that Daenerys' face. Yeah. When the dragons pass, she's like, yeah. And I'm like, stop it.
Bitch.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe that.
Well, I mean, if you have dragons, you're bound to be a little cocky, I guess. Or arrogant. So I guess that's what that is. Like,
I guess so too.
I appreciate that you're wearing your Game of Thrones cosplay while we're streaming, by the way. I had to bring that up.
Yeah. I just had to do it to celebrate. It's absolutely not finished. And it's not going to be finished either. This is just where it's going to be out forever, I guess. Is there any costumes we noticed in this first opening scene?
No, a lot of them seemed like the same as what they were at the end of last season. So I didn't really notice anything particular being new or different.
I
The only
agree.
thing I thought was that those Unsullied must be freezing their non-existing balls off
Same.
because
I was like,
no winter
are they?
clothes. What?
No. Yeah, no. I know that they're supposed to, endure pain and everything, but still, I mean,
I mean, there's a limit to how good you're gonna be in combat if you're down with the sniffles. You know.
yeah, but even Grave Worm and Sunday are wearing warmer
Yeah.
clothes, but
Not the rest of
they're
them.
on horses anyway,
Yeah.
so.
They're the rich people.
Uh,
They can afford it.
Ooh. Um, okay, so also like the opening scene when everyone comes into the courtyard of the Winterfell castle, it's pretty similar to the first pilot episode when King Robert came into
Yeah.
to Winterfell as well. Only this time it's John who goes out and gives everyone a hug and stuff like that. And the first one he says hi to is Bran.
Yes.
So what do we think of like this encounter?
Well, it's clear that John is more excited about seeing Bran than Bran is about seeing John, but then again, Bran sees the whole entire future and past and present of Westeros, so I guess, seeing your brother again kind of isn't that big of a deal anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. But I also appreciate like the small amount of effort they put in there because
Yeah.
in the last season, Bran was,
The baby.
I'm not Bran, I'm the three-eyed raven.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he meets Arya and it's the same thing, and Arya's like, okay, and Sansa's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now it's the same thing, like, oh, you're a man. And he's like, almost a man. And John's like, okay.
What does that mean? I don't know.
You weird, bro.
And then he's like, where's Arya? And it's, well, somewhere around here, I guess.
Yeah, and that's true too. Like she probably is. Sansa, snarky Sansa is
Yes.
snarky. I mean,
Yes, I know. Her name is not Stark, it's Sansa Snark. That's mine.
yes. And like when Daenerys meets Sansa too, it's very clear that Sansa is like, no.
Yeah, she's being the Ice Queen basically. That's
Oh, yeah.
what the card she's playing. She's like, Dany is trying to play all nice and like, the North is as beautiful as your brother told me, and so are you. And she's like, the castle is yours.
I know, but again, that's a very it's kind of the same attitude that Cersei gives Lady Cat
Yes.
during the dinner they have, because Lady Cat is, I don't remember what Lady Cat is talking about, but she's trying to be, friendly, and Cersei's just like meh, 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 meh. So it's kind of the same kind of feeling.
Sansa isn't happy, and she's going to let everyone know it without being rude.
Oh yeah.
It's a power play for sure. And Lucia Farah says, we love snarky Sansa.
Oh yes, we do. We love the snarkiness.
I mean, Sansa is hands down one of my favorite characters. So
oh yeah,
I'm just gonna say that, like.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone back and watched a few of the older episodes, and still then you can see how she has matured, and it's really nice because she hasn't, gone that far off from what she started as. It's just that she has more life experience now.
She's not so naive.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it is. Her character journey is one of the biggest and most dramatic character arcs, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, I think...
But then again, yeah.
James.
Wait, what did... Lucia says, yeah, she's been through some shit. I agree.
yeah, she has. No, I mean, Bran is just basically being Bran, being weird and a little, creepy, as usual.
But he's, I really like the way he kind of like, we don't have time for this.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Move on.
The wall has fallen. The Night King has your son, Daenerys. We know everything. And she's like, okay. That's not exactly what he says, but that's what he said.
That's what we heard.
That's what we heard, yeah.
No, she's
Moving
not
on.
just a lady anymore, Lucia. That's true.
She's not.
Right.
Next scene after they have had their reunion, we have the whole meeting about, assembling the armies, and you have all the lords and ladies and queens and whatever at the tables, too many people in charge. And orders are being given, and there's a lot of, bickering between the lords. What do we think? Why do we think they have placed this scene here?
Well, I mean, it's kind of natural that you would call like a war table or like a something
Yeah.
when you brought new allies to the realm, an ally that everyone has to bend the knee to, by the way, which is a very big deal. And
Oh yeah.
it also kind of gives it gives us a chance to see how far they've come in their preparations for the war. Like, where are they, and how many bannermen do they have, and all of that. And cue little Miss Badass. Is her name Liana? Brianna? I can't remember.
It's not Liana Mormont, little Lady Mormont, at least. Yeah. I think it's Liana.
Yeah. I mean, she's like, yeah, when you left, you were a fucking king, and now you come back here. What happened to the King of the North? And I mean, she's very on point, and she's very blunt, and I love her. She's amazing.
Yeah, she is. But I also think they have done this just to set up some drama for the episode as well, just so it has some kind of inner conflict, to make things a little bit more interesting. But it's believable, absolutely.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, do we believe John in his speech? Is what I'm sitting and wondering. Like, he said, "I chose to give up my crown for the love of the North, or for the North." And I guess, but I think it was easier to bend the knee because the queen was pretty and he had like a big, huge crush on her.
Well, after watching like the last season 7, it's not like he did it that fast.
Although he took his time thinking about it.
He took a lot of time, but when it down, like, oh, now, and she's like, "Aren't you bending the knee?" "No, I need to go now. My people are in danger." So it was actually Daenerys that went with him to the north first, kind of, and then he saw what she did for him, and he bent the knee after that. I guess, but it's a weird love story. They have a weird chemistry that I don't really get, and I know a lot of people are a bit angry at their chemistry and don't really believe it, but I don't know.
Maybe they were just destined to be together, or maybe it's just a Targaryen thing, that Targaryens are attracted to Targaryens. Who the fuck knows?
Maybe. Can you stream the episode for me, maybe? Well, that's not entirely legal. I'm sorry.
No. We don't want to get kicked off of Twitch for streaming copyrighted material. It's very strict rules, but we if we could, we would.
Yes. Let me see. We have talked about Lord Umber, Lady Mormont, a little bit of the bickering between characters, but then Tyrion tries to be clever, and I think we've seen this a lot in the last season as well. Tyrion trying to be clever, but it's failing again and again and again and again. Yeah. And we see that now too. And I think it's sad because I really like him.
I like Tyrion too. And I'm not so sure that it failed specifically, but it didn't help as much as he thought it would, because let's face it, no one likes the Lannisters up north.
Oh yeah, nobody does.
So trying to use that as like a diplomatic chip in this game might have worked against him.
Yeah, and I also think it's nice to see that he's kind of out of waters.
Yeah.
Because things are different than what he was used to when he grew up, and kind of shows that he was maybe more of a rich kid than he thought himself.
Perhaps.
Even though he was an outcast. But yeah, I'm hoping for him being a bit awesome soon, because he's been less than awesome as of late, I think.
He's struggling, basically. That's the long and short of it. Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm not sure I believe the Lannisters are coming.
Oh, no, no. We can talk a little bit about that later, but I don't think either.
It's gonna come up later, so we'll talk
It
about
is.
it.
And then we have Sansa questioning Dany in front of everyone, which I thought was quite awesome, to be honest. And she did it in that kind of realistic way. It wasn't just to be snarky or, you know.
She was being the voice of reason. Like, yeah, that's great. The world's biggest army and everything, but how the fuck are we gonna feed these people? And what do dragons eat anyway?
Oh, yeah. And Dany's like, they eat what they want. So, go Team Sansa!
Yes, go Team Sansa. I mean, it's as good a reply as any you could give. At least she's not showing any weakness. Because showing weakness in that moment would have killed her, but, you know, believability for towards all the Northmen.
I agree. I agree.
So even though it was like, you know, she had to do it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think there that was a cool thing, and that was probably my favorite moment of that scene was when Sansa questioned Dany.
Yeah. She's
the
my
next
kind of girl.
The next scene is basically you see Gendry. It's just I think they just had to put Gendry in there just so people would see what he's up to, so it wouldn't be so shocking the next time we saw him. So you just see him throwing dragon glass and taking charge of the moment, and then it just pans up to Tyrion and Sansa, and this moment, I think. This is a very cool meeting.
I think this is my favorite moment from the entire episode, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Just because it's been such a long time since they've seen each other, and just, I was like, oh wow, what is this reunion going to be like? They used to be married, and she left his brother's wedding, and his brother died during that wedding. And,
oh yeah. And there was so many cool quotes, though. It was like, terrible wedding. Again. It had its moments. Yeah. Miserable affair. Yeah. It had its moments. Yeah, I love that. And also, I love the comment that Tyrion tells her, like, many underestimates you, and most of them are dead. And Sansa's like, yeah.
Yes, they are. And then she goes about saying, like, so Cersei told you her army was coming north to fight for you, and you believed her? I used to think you were the cleverest man in the world.
And she leaves. It's just like mic drop.
It was so good. It was like, yes.
But I'm also like, since she is on a high horse now, she's like up here right now.
Yeah.
Will this kind of come back and bite her? And this is where I get scared of Sansa and thinking that she might actually go down with the ship when Winterfell falls.
Well, she is the Lady of Winterfell, so
she is.
But that's the thing. I think she'll probably have a moment where she will be brought low, so to speak. But she has been one of the most resilient characters throughout the entire series, so I guess we just have to wait and see if she actually buckles under or if she survives yet again against all.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe she becomes the Night Queen. Who knows?
I've been seeing some theories about Night Queens today on YouTube.
Oh, you have? Yes, oh, interesting.
Yes. And Night Kings, for that matter.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. Looks like you're sipping whiskey, and Night Kings, for that matter. Whiskey. But here
it's just soda though.
yeah, I know. But now the last thing you see in the scene is that Tyrion is looking down at Bran, who's still out in the courtyard. And I remember when I watched the episode, I was like, why is Bran still out there? He's in a wheelchair. Aren't he cold? Where's the people? Have they just left him there?
That's
because there is
too. Like, did they forget him, or is he just sitting there being creepy watching people?
Yeah, I was like, creepy Bran. Why? And we're going to talk about that later because it all makes sense in the end. Yes. But during the episode, I was like, no, I don't get this at all. I don't know anything. And then we have one of the meetings that I really liked,
Yes.
which was the Arya and Jon meeting.
That was so good.
It was so good. I really enjoyed it when they showed each other their weapons. Like, look at this! Look at this! Ooh, impressive! You know, it was really fun.
Like it was so good. Like, because their interaction just summed up all of the pain and suffering they've been through in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you still have it. Have you had to use it once or twice? Understatement of the century. Like, how did you sneak up on me? How did you survive being stabbed through the heart? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a really nice meeting. It was so genuine, pure. I really did. And I really liked that it was under, the tree.
Yeah.
In Winterfell. It was really nice.
And
I also liked the comment about, don't never forget that.
Yeah.
That, that you're a Stark as well.
The interesting part about this scene also is that if this were, season 1, Arya would have been on Jon's side no matter what. But now she's on Sansa's side, saying that, she's right.
Yeah, but then Jon points that out, and she's like, no, I'm on the side of this family. And you're my family too. Never forget that. So I'm not sure if there's going to happen something in the future that, makes Jon have to choose.
Yeah, might. There might. But yeah,
there might be.
That's also one of my favorites of this episode, for sure. Those 2 moments.
It was. And also, people in the chat, feel free to comment on your favorite moments or comment on any theories you've heard while we talk, because we're just gonna talk. Yep. You know us.
We can talk for hours.
Oh, we can. I'm just gonna move on to King's Landing. You see Cersei looking out to the sea, and you see her guards. You see Qyburn, and he gives her news about the wall, and it's full, basically. And we see Greyjoy ships. Do you have any notes on this scene at all? Because
okay, so like the first thing I thought when she got this message, she just smiled and was like, "Oh, good." So all I could think about was, okay, so either she's not moving from King's Landing at all, or she's sending her army up to attack Jon's army from the rear.
Oh yeah, that might happen.
I don't know if that's very plausible, but she's definitely not going to honor the deal she made, I don't think. At least not in the way people expect her to.
No, I don't think she's going to send up anyone. I think she all her armies at one place. And the Greyjoy ships that comes into King's Landing at that moment contains the Golden Company, 20,000 men and 2,000 horses. No elephants, sadly.
No, which she is very upset about.
Oh yeah. We're going to talk about that later. Because first, we're not boarded yet, because we have the scene with Euron and Yara.
Yes.
So what do we think of this?
Well, I mean, I think this was mostly like an establishing shot just to remind us that Yara was taken prisoner in the last season and that she's with Euron. More than anything, because it didn't really further the plot in any way.
There was only the comment from Yara where she tells Euron, you're on the losing side.
Yeah.
And Euron is, then I'll sail the Iron Fleet somewhere else, but first I'm gonna fuck the queen.
Well, so his loyalty is for sale still. He's not, Cersei's man, so to speak.
Absolutely not. That gets a bit of conflicting about something that happens soon, though.
Yes.
Because then we're in the King's Hall with Cersei, Euron, and the new character called, what was it, Captain Strickland?
Yeah.
And what do we think of this new character? Do we think that he will...
I think this is a small part that in the end is not going to have a lot to say for anything, except that they needed a captain for the Golden Company. That's what I think.
Agreed. But I actually read an interesting theory. It's not really interesting, but he's the voice of the producers, basically. And the conversation between him and Cersei is basically the producer's way of telling the people equals us. You can't have elephants! They're too expensive!
They don't travel well on boats!
So I think they put it in there just to let the audience know, we don't want more CGI. We have enough with the wolves and the dragons.
And the
no
White
more.
Walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that. No.
I think that's it.
If it's true, then that's amazing. I like it. But will he have a major effect on anything? No.
No, I don't think so. But at least we know there's gonna be an amazing fight scene at some point, probably in the late, like in maybe the last episode or next to last episode, we're gonna see the Golden Company fight, I think.
Yeah. Finally.
Anyway, and what do we think of like the Cersei thing?
Well, I mean,
have comments?
I'm surprised that she caved. For one.
Oh yeah.
I was like expecting her to be like, "Fuck off! I'm not gonna have sex with you or anyone else unless I choose to." So.
But then again, Jaime has left her. Everyone has left her. She's all alone. She doesn't have any. What does she have to lose?
Also, she's pregnant with her brother's baby again, and if she fucks Euron, at least she can say the baby is his, and, you know, avoid the whole, like, incest thing again.
Yeah, especially now since Jaime has left her, too.
Yes. So, I mean, that it might have been a strategic choice just based off of that.
It might be. Because knowing Cersei, nothing happens without any reason. She's always calculating. Sure. At least her own, what she does always has a reason. She can't always predict what other people does, but she never leaves anything for, faith.
And then she goes around and does something that I think is low even for her. And that is to hire Sir Bronn to chase after Tyrion and Jaime and kill them if the Night King doesn't kill them already.
Yes, but do you remember? Do you remember the last Game of Spoilers we had, where we talked a little bit about Cersei becoming the new Mad Queen?
Yes, for sure. She already is, in my opinion. I mean,
I have a theory that I haven't read this anywhere. I watched one of the old episodes, and it's the episode where Jaime and Tywin Lannister talk. And Jaime, he is the Kingslayer, you know?
Yeah.
He killed the Mad King.
Yes.
And the reason he did so was because the Mad King hired Jaime, or the reason Jaime didn't want to be on the Mad King's side anymore. One of them is that the Mad King hired Jaime to bring Tywin's head to him. He was hired to kill his own father. And I think this is kind of the same moment happening again, but with Bronn.
Yeah.
Bronn doesn't really have a family that he cares about. The only two people he cares about is Tyrion and Jaime.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem like he has any qualms when he's asked by Maester Qyburn to do it. But I think once you're so far north and so far away from Cersei, you can get... her orders don't mean shit anymore.
No. And then I have thought of the plausibility of Bronn actually being the one who kills Cersei in the end.
I hope so. That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be very...
Because then he would be the Queen Slayer instead of the Kingslayer.
But I mean, like... Because one of the things that... why the Mad King had to be stopped was because he was stockpiling dragon's breath beneath the King's Landing and was planning to blow up large parts of the city to get rid of his enemies.
Which Cersei has already kind of done
she
with
did
that.
What the Mad King couldn't do.
Oh, yeah.
So, to me, that makes her the Mad Queen already. I saw this being talked about in another fan YouTube video earlier today, and I was like, yes, I agree.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. I remember we talked her being like how many similarity she has now to the Mad King.
Yeah. No,
And
she's a complete psychopath. Like she has no, or sociopath rather. She has no remorse, no empathy for other people around her. She only cares about the people who are close to her. Anyone else is expendable. Fuck off.
agreed.
Those are some truly sociopathic traits. Is she
Agreed.
deranged? No. She just doesn't care about consequences for other people.
Oh yeah, no, she couldn't give a shit about that.
So she isn't mad, as in, crazy, but she is acting crazy.
And did you notice that the crossbow that Bronn got is the same crossbow that Tyrion used to kill his father?
Yes, poetic justice, as Bronn said.
Yes.
Or was it
also?
Qyburn?
Yeah, it was Qyburn who said it, but still. Also, there's one thing that Qyburn mentioned, which kind of makes me a bit curious, because Qyburn says that Cersei has other plans for the Dragon Girl. What could those plans be? Yeah. Because that means that Cersei has a plot far ahead in mind.
Yeah. No,
and I don't think it's going to be as easy as kill her, stab. I think it's going to be major, something major.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what she did to Septa Unella, or whatever her name was, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I assume whatever she has in store for Daenerys will be slow and painful, or very, like, epic in scope.
Yeah. And I also think that's a little bit foreshadowing of that it's going to be them two in the end.
Yeah,
maybe.
At least they're going to have to meet each other sometime during this season, and one of them probably won't get out of that meeting alive.
Trial by combat. They have to fight each other.
I have dragon, I win. I think is the easy way out of that one.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
But I have to say, I did almost feel sorry for Bronn, like when he was trying to get it on with those 3 prostitutes. Like, for the love of the maker, shut up.
I almost killed the dragon. You guys just talk about the people who almost died by the dragon.
Yeah.
He looks a little bit fed up. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's constantly talking about someone else's heroics when he's done a lot of heroic shit himself, and he never gets, the glory.
Yeah, but also that kind of, to me, because one of the things Daenerys was afraid of was that, or Tyrion was afraid of Daenerys not being loved by the people if she used her dragons.
Yes.
And it seems like the way that the women are talking about the victims of the dragons and the dragons, it's like they already love them. And I think that is a very good thing, especially if Daenerys want to take over King's Landing, that the people are already talking positively about her and her dragons.
I mean, because they may not love her yet, but they're intrigued. It's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's exciting until someone is on fire.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe they'll find that fun as well, who
knows?
They'll bring new life to the dragon pit. But then we have, Euron and Cersei back in Cersei's bedroom. They talk a little bit about to each other, insulting each other, and basically figuring out that they like each other. And Euron is like, I'm gonna put the prince in your belly. And then I'm thinking a little bit about what he told Yara moments earlier, that after he fucks the queen, he will leave.
Yeah. No.
Will he though? Will he? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Because the thing is, he doesn't love Cersei. He just thinks she's hot and he wants to be king.
Yeah.
So he doesn't bear her any loyalty, but maybe she'll end up using him for that.
Maybe.
As a scapegoat. He's the new baby daddy.
Maybe. Yeah, because now she is pregnant now, so she could already tell him that can be used to keep him at port.
Yeah. Although, we'll get to that.
Okay. What do we think about the rescue mission from Theon when he rescued Yara.
Glad to see he got his balls back, figuratively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was an appropriate reunion because Yara is, of course, still pissed, but she loves her brother and she's happy she's, been rescued. So I thought a headbutt and a handshake was appropriate.
Absolutely. And it was also very much the Iron Island way of handling things. It was good.
They don't do lovey-dovey emotions a whole lot.
No, they don't. I liked it. And what do we think of what their plans will be? Do we think that Yara will manage to capture the Iron Islands? Oh my god.
No, I think she will, because there are no one left guarding the Iron Islands as it is right now. So, yeah. And I mean, her reasoning is probably sound unless the White Walkers can walk underneath water like they
have a dragon. They can fly.
Yeah, that's true. But Yara doesn't know that.
No, she doesn't.
But I mean, so far I'm with her with the reasoning. But if they continue to have that dragon, it doesn't matter if the Iron Islands is surrounded by water. You'll be fucked anyway.
I'm thinking that if Winterfell is taken, at least now they have a place to escape.
Yeah.
They can go out
between King's Landing and the north.
Yeah, so I actually think that Yara will manage to capture the Iron Islands and that they can use it as a, middle ground before they head to King's Landing. I think they'll probably get a bit split up, but it's at least a plausible thing that can happen.
And then Theon is going to go north and fight for the Starks. Good luck with that. I'm not sure how warm of a welcome he's going to be getting.
But that's why I'm thinking that he's going to do something heroic.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Theon is most likely going to die.
Yeah.
And it will probably be a long time before the finale, and probably it will be sacrificing himself for one of the Starks to make up for all the bullshit he's pulled in the past.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I think that sounds about right, yeah. But we'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, that's just me using, very classical, storytelling cliches or tropes.
Yeah.
That would be a fitting thing for the story arc, but...
I agree. I also think so. But the thing is, with Game of Thrones earlier, at least through the books, they tend to do things that aren't usually cliche.
Yes.
But then again...
In the TV show, they sometimes do.
I agree. Especially in the last few seasons where they have killed off a lot of key characters. They have kind of established some characters more and more and more. And I think now they are going through a lot more cliches than what they used to. Yeah. So I want to be surprised. And I do. Mm-hmm. But I expect him to die.
It's getting harder to be surprised at this point. So, but I want to be surprised. So if I'm actually surprised later during the season, I will be overjoyed.
Agreed. And also, Yara whispers something to Theon at the end of it, and I couldn't really capture what she said, but it sounded like we will kill the bastard anyway. Are they talking about Euron or?
No, it's gonna be they say what is dead may never die, but kill the bastards anyway.
Okay, yeah, so it's just it's just a saying and adding what's dead may never die.
The Night Walkers are dead, so they can't technically die, but kill them anyway because I want you to come back, sort of thing. That's what I interpreted that as.
That makes sense.
I missed it. What did you miss?
Probably us talking. She wasn't here from the start.
Well, that's fine. It's okay. We've just been going through the scenes in the episode, and we're not done with going through the scenes yet. So you haven't missed. You
haven't missed it all. So yeah. And then we're back at Winterfell again after being in King's Landing.
The Starks are arriving with their people and their wagons and their supplies.
Yeah.
That's all the people you see on the way up into the keep when they're shooting.
Yeah. And also it's just like a cutscene just to establish where people are, what's happening. Tyrion, Davos, and Varys are having a conversation about loyalty and a little bit of like the drama that's been going on between the lords and Starks and Daenerys and Jon and all that stuff. Basically just building up for it to be a bigger thing than it actually is, like, in my opinion.
Davos is proposing a proposal, as he so nicely puts it himself. Like, yeah, why not let them get married? And that'll be a good show of faith for the Northmen, you know. And they're old guys. They're not gonna listen to us, you know, that whole spiel. I'm not that old.
And then Varys is like, nothing lasts. Bum bum bum.
Yeah. And then you switch to Jon and Dany, who are talking, and some Dothraki guys come up on their horses and report.
Before the Dothraki guys comes up, they're talking about Sansa.
Yeah, that's true. Your sister doesn't like me, does she?
Yeah, and they talk a little bit, and then Daenerys, you can see that she's being a bit annoyed, and she's like, "Yeah, if she can't respect me, then," and you can't really, don't get to hear her say what she's going to say next because cue Dothraki guys and cue dragons, and then we have the dragon ride.
Yes, which I find to be very interesting because it has been stated earlier that the dragons will not let anyone besides a Targaryen ride them.
Yes.
Which is something Jon should have picked up on, but he's a little slow, so...
Daenerys should have picked up on that, for sure.
Seeing as she is a Targaryen and has been all her life.
Yes.
So that's interesting. But I think she's just caught up in the whole romance, so like, oh my god, even my dragons like him. Like, he's so totally cute.
Yeah. But I think it's really nice. And like, even though the scene, I found it a little bit, you know, ugh, it was still fun and cute, and I liked it. I really enjoyed the music during the dragon ride.
It was
and just how, it was really nice.
No one knows how to ride a dragon until they do. Yes. Very true.
You totally ruined horses.
Cece says, I'm like, Sansa literally just met you though, Dany. Yes, agreed. You've just met. You can't be besties just straight off the bat. That's not how life works.
And as we stated earlier, Sansa snark.
Sansa snark.
You can't really get to know a snark by just like that.
And
Take some time.
She used to be together with Littlefinger. She has trust issues. She was married to Ramsay Bolton and Tyrion Lannister. She's had to learn from her mistakes.
And she was with Joffrey for a small amount of time. Yeah, it's...
Cece also says, Ramin Djawadi is our god. That's the composer, right? For the music?
I think so.
Yeah.
Then by the waterfall, I think it's like a back to Ygritte and Jon's first moment in the hot springs.
Kind of.
And also when Ygritte and Jon first like slept next to each other because they had to stay really close. Because it was so cold, and Danny's like, "Oh, it's cold," and he's like, "Oh, soothing girl." So
warm kind of thing, and then the dragons just stare at them.
I was like, "What is that?"
Why like all I was missing was for one of those dragons to go like, to wink at them or something.
But you know, Drogon is kind of Khal Drogo in a way-ish.
I mean, he's named after Khal Drogo. For sure.
So it's not that weird that he's like...
No, I didn't get that, like, angry. I got, like, yeah, do it, like...
Oh, no, I got, like, oh my god, that bitch is mine. That's what I got, like, creepy stuff.
I got, like, you guys are good. This is meant to be. Continue. That's the vibe I got from the dragons.
Oh, yeah, no, totally not that one at all in this house.
I wonder what vibe the viewers got from our dragons, though.
I don't know. Cece, what did you think?
Yeah.
Or Lucia, or Pixel Snoop Snippet.
Pixel Pixel shot snipe.
Yeah. Snoop snip.
Pixel for sure.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
Cece is like a mix between the two.
Yeah.
Go on, but if you hurt her. So that's a piece of both, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a good summary of the dragon's feelings.
But the next scene is actually one, I think this is my favorite scene of the episode. Mm-hmm. And it's when Gendry is in the smith mining, doing the dragon glass thing.
Yeah.
And we have the meeting with him, the Hound, and Arya.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Well,
let's talk about the Hound first.
Yes, because he's first in the scene. And like, as far as warm reunion goes, this was not one of them, but I think this is the warmest and friendliest Arya and the Hound will ever be. Like, this is friendly for the two of them.
Yeah, but you could like see.
Aren't you? It's probably why
you could see both of them were just standing there. Like I was like, hug, and like, but you know the moment when you meet someone you haven't really seen in a long time, but you want to hug them, but you're not sure if they're on the same page as you, so you just stand there awkwardly instead. That's kind of the vibe I got before the Hound was like, "You're a cold little bitch." It's like. And they did their thing, and it was great. I really enjoyed that reunion. Just seeing them talking, and just them talking to each other. To me, that like means that they like each other. If they had hated each other, Arya wouldn't even go in there with him.
She would have killed him. She would have assassinated him for sure.
Oh yeah, that too. So I really want to see more of Arya and the Hound, and I'm very curious of what's going to happen next.
It's an interesting dynamic.
For sure. But then Gendry! Like the last time we saw Arya and Gendry together, he was like, the next time we see each other, you're going to be milady. And it was just so nice to see them actually surviving, the both of them, to come this far. I don't know, like...
I'm not a lady. Well, as you say, milady.
And she just smiles. It's like both of them remember, both of them know.
Yeah. It's like falling back into old patterns of conversation, you know? It feels like home, so to speak.
Do we ship them, though?
I kind of do. Although I don't think Arya is going to end up romancing anyone ever.
No, I don't think so either.
But if she were to end up with someone or have a relationship with someone, I think Gendry would be a good one. They wouldn't last for a very long time though, because
no, both of them will probably die by episode. Did you, by the way, see the April joke from Jimmy Kimmel Show?
No.
They had an interview with Maisie Williams where she reveals a big spoiler that Arya dies in episode 2 of the new season.
No.
And it was an April Fool's joke. But it's kind of very believable. They do a very good job, but it's like, because of Jimmy Kimmel, I kind of like, no, he's acting. But Maisie Williams, A++, I mean.
She's great.
Yeah.
CC Torres says, if I ship Arya with anyone, it would be Gendry, yeah.
And yeah, the for April Fool's joke was good.
Yes. And apparently there are a lot of dragon memes out there, so...
yeah, I believe that.
I haven't seen them, but you could send some my way, and I will happily look at them.
Do it. Yeah. Post them in Discord, in the Game of Spoilers chat on Discord, maybe.
Yeah, do that. That's good. So everyone gets to see them.
Yeah. But what do we think of the weapon? I guess this is the spear that we have seen Arya kind of practicing with in the crypts in the trailers for the season. But why a spear? Did she fight with the...
Was it a spear? I thought it was kind of hard to see what it was, to be honest.
I agree. But I'm guessing, because we have in the trailer for season 8, you see Arya with the spear down in the crypts practicing. So I'm guessing that has something to do with this weapon.
Yeah. And Gendry is like, what would you need this for? Like,
Yeah, but the thing, like the feeling I got from it when I first saw the sketch was like, what is this kind of Star Wars lightsaber-esque Darth Maul kind of weapon?
yeah. To me, it was hard to see because I was like, is that a dagger? Is it a throwing blade? What
I
is
think
this?
I think it's the Valyrian dagger attached to a dragon glass thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a double-edged spear thing. But I'm not sure. I'm curious at least to see what it's gonna be.
Cece says that from the marketing and interviews, it seems like Arya is going to live until the end, at least a long time. It seems like Maisie was the last one filming or something, but who knows?
Who knows?
I hope Arya goes all the way. For me,
oh yeah,
that would be A++.
And also, when they film TV series, they don't always film them chronologically.
That is also very true.
So
they just do all the scenes that need to be shot in one location, and then they like move on to the next one.
Yeah. But also, Arya is a faceless man, so she is kind of technically not a Stark. So if the theory about the Starks dying in Winterfell is true, based on the opening scene, then maybe she will last.
Well, I mean, she's still a Stark, because that's one of the last things she said before she left was a girl's name is Arya Stark and I'm going home.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, she's
you don't know
man, but she's still a Stark.
I think so too, but that's at least the theory I have. If she survives, it's because she's something else as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why she's going to survive is because she can disguise herself as someone else. I think that's going to be really important. I wonder if she can disguise herself as a White Walker. That would be really interesting.
But they have the hive mind, so I guess they would know.
Maybe.
I don't know. That would be cool, though.
I'm just like, yeah, it would be interesting to see.
It would be. Sansa has gotten a note from Lord Glover that they won't come to Winterfell's aid. And then Jon comes in and they have a discussion about which side they're both on and loyalty. What do we think of their argument?
Well, I think this is Jon trying to make peace between Sansa and Dany.
Do you think he succeeds, though?
No.
I think he kind of does, because both of them are kind of joking a little bit around with each other at the end of it.
Well, yeah,
Sansa's like, yeah, but she's prettier. And that kind of breaks the ice a little bit. Yeah. So I think it opens up for a more friendlier conversation from here out on and out.
That still says that Sansa believes that even though Dany isn't crazy now, she might still become a crazy queen. You know?
Oh, yeah.
She's not her father. No, she's prettier, but that doesn't mean she's sane. Is kind of what I think.
Yeah. But I also think that Sansa stands by Jon, what I got from it. Like, even though Jon has kind of betrayed a lot of, like, the family pride or whatever, she still loves him as a brother.
Of course she does. She does. But she's going to fight for Winterfell and for the Starks, for sure. And for the North. She doesn't give a damn about Dany. Like,
no,
she has to
she does not.
Dany to save everyone else. I think she would in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, I think so too. She doesn't know Dany at all, so. Sansa says... Yeah.
Cece says, but I guess technically Arya and Sansa are the only Starks left. Yes, true. Well, in Bran, but he kind of, Bran is Bran.
I think there's still a lot of Bran left. Only Bran doesn't believe that himself. No, he thinks he's the three-eyed raven, but
he's still in his original body and everything. So
I think there's more Bran in there than he lets on.
But if Arya isn't a proper Stark anymore, question mark, yeah, that could be tricky. Could be tricky. So we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. But But do we think... Yeah, we talked a little bit about if Jon bent the knee because he loved Dany or not. And I think definitely that is kind of foreshadowing for the whole Targaryen thing. kind of weird connection Targaryens have with each other. I think that's just, referring to that, really.
And I mean, one of the things that when it comes to Dany and alliances, if we recall back to the prophecy that was said, is that Dany would experience 3 betrayals. And I think she's only had 2 so far.
Which are?
I don't remember the specifics. But I just read about it. Like, the prophecy says she will have 3 betrayals, and she's only had 2.
Mm-hmm.
So there might potentially be one major betrayal waiting somewhere in this season.
Yeah,
and it could be Jon, it could be Sansa, it could be Arya, it could be Cersei, it could be Tyrion,
Jorah,
Varys. I mean, it could be anyone. So
Jorah betrayed her. Yeah, that's true.
Jorah betrayed her. That's one of them.
Did Dario betray her? I don't remember what even happened to.
No, he was just phased out. She was like, "I don't love you, and you can't be my king. I'm, moving on," basically.
But she was betrayed by her brother.
Yes, but I'm not sure if he betrayed her before the prophecy was given, though.
Okay.
I think
she was betrayed by
the guy at Karth, because they stole her dragons, the mages, the Brotherhood of Mages. Yeah. So maybe that's one of the betrayals, I think.
We'll have to Google this for the next time, I think.
Yes. We'll have to look into it. But if that is the case, we're looking at a major betrayal from someone at some point during this season.
And they're building up for it to be Jon.
They are, kind of, yeah.
So we'll have to see, because they've been like, it never lasts, with the talk with Davos and Jorah and Varys earlier.
Beauty fades, nothing is forever, except
exactly.
Dom, if you listen.
So they've pointed out, like, oh, they're in love, but it's not last. In love, let's see how that lasts. You don't even know her, They've been pointing that out throughout this episode this far.
Yeah. You can't marry a man you just met yesterday?
Yes, I can!
Thank you, Elsa, the voice of reason.
Next scene is actually one of the funniest and tragic, but still funniest scenes in this whole episode. Mm-hmm. And it's when Daenerys and Jorah talks with Sam.
Sam.
And reveals that Daenerys has killed both his father and his brother.
And he's like,
so, what do we think of this? I mean, it doesn't bode well for Dany and Sam's, loyalty, at least.
You can just tell Jorah got super awkward at that moment. Like, we came here to thank you and do something nice. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I really loved everyone's faces in this scene, and that's what I mean, like, funniest, because they had cut all their faces and their reactions in a really, like, comedic kind of way, even though it was super, super sad. Because Jorah was just, like, awkward, and Dany was just stone cold, and Sam was like,
can I go now?
But I think...
I love the, like, what can I do to repay you thing, and he's like, well, a pardon would be nice. I borrowed some books from the Citadel.
And a sword.
Technically it was going to be mine anyway, but
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that scene. And what they've been doing so far in this episode is just, establishing things, people meeting each other and stuff like that. That's been really important. And this is one of those scenes as well. And then we have the next scene. Bran still is sitting outside.
Like his feet must be icicles by now. He must be frozen to the bone.
Yeah, he must be, it's like gangrenous or something. He must be really sick and ill. Like, no, that's not... I mean, he's been north of the wall. He can handle being outside, I guess. But I found, like, that transition scene a little bit weird, just because I, at that point, still didn't understand what Bran was still doing outside.
Just creeper being creepy.
Yeah. Well, what do we think? Because I can't remember, have they been talking together, or did they just establish that they yeah, they have been talking together, or did just Bran know and Sam just knew, or I don't.
No, because Bran and Sam met each other when they were both leaving the Beyond the Wall, because they came or they met when Bran
Oh
was
yeah, I
leaving.
know
And so
that I know, but they haven't talked about the parents of John. But they built things up as if
I can't
they
remember
had.
if there was an actual scene where they sat talking about this, but I think there
No,
must have been,
I
in
don't
order
think
for this
so.
to be just put out there without anything else in front of it. Seems kind of weird storytelling wise.
But I think that Bran just know that Sam
Oh
knows
yeah, I
because
mean,
Bran knows everything.
Bran
So
knows everything, and he's traveled back in time. He knows exactly what happened between Lyanna and Rhaegar. Was that his name? Yeah.
because I think it's the next scene that Sam is like, yeah, me and Bran has been talking about blah blah, and I'm like, it just happened. But yeah. Anyway, it's like what we experienced with last season as well, that there's a lot of time traveling,
Yes,
but it's
there
fine.
is.
It's fine.
Cece says there's a meme thing that's a charity to build Bran a ramp or something. Winterfell is not wheelchair accessible.
No. Oh, and he doesn't have Hodor anymore.
Oh.
Bless. And Mira got really, really, really mad at him and left him last season too. So now he's all on his own. But then we have Sam and Jon in the crypt, where Sam literally falls into the graves.
Pretty much.
What do we think of Sam and Jon's meeting?
Well, I mean, it was really nice that they were so happy to see each other. Or at least Jon was very happy to see Sam, but Sam was like, oh, this is going to be so awkward, but hey.
I think it's weird that they haven't, met yet.
That's probably why Jon said, like, have you been hiding from me or something? And Sam is totally, he's been hiding from Jon. Just pretending.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's got a secret.
Yeah. There's two major things in this scene, and that's Sam revealing to Jon, like, did you know that Daenerys killed my family?
Yeah. Would you have done the same?
What do we think of this? Like, I think this conversation is one of the biggest reasons why Jon might, turn his back on Daenerys.
Yeah. Because they have very different ways of ruling. She's grown up with, the whole fire and blood thing, and if you do not obey me, then you are my enemy. Whereas Jon is very much like, well, can't we find a compromise or think creatively about this whole thing?
Yeah, that's very true.
That's kind of what Sam is asking him when he says, would you have done it? I mean, you've done this before, and you've pardoned people. Like, you let wildlings come live on the other side of the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Jon's answer, or like facial reaction to the questions that Sam gave him, were really instrumental in how Sam chose to deliver the secret.
I think so too. But I understand that it's a hard choice or a hard message for Jon to get as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone that he loves hates the person that he loves, and that's Ygritte all over again, because she was a wildling. Everything comes back to becoming what it was originally. It always do the same over and over again.
It goes in cycles.
Oh yeah.
No, and like what I think was really it was explained on HBO behind the episode, was that because everyone who watches the show already know that Jon is a Targaryen. We discovered this already. Jon is basically the only one who doesn't know in that scene. So they didn't do a lot of explanations or like, a lot of talking. They just chose to let Jon's face tell the story of what he was feeling. And
yeah, I liked it. Yeah. I like that they made it short and simple and fast and to the point. Yeah, because the two things about Sam's talking about, like, loyalty and his family being killed, and did you know that you're a Targaryen, it kind of flowed naturally.
Yeah,
it's like two things. That's two major things.
I felt like it was a well crafted scene, in my opinion.
It was. I liked it. What do we think will happen next time Jon and Dany meet? Confrontation. I'm not sure because none of them are known for for doing that, but both stand up when it's important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're going to have to talk about it, obviously, but I don't think that Jon is going to be aggressive or confrontational about it. He'll be like, "Did you know?" Or,
Yeah.
like, "I just received some disturbing news. Listen to this." Or maybe he'll just keep it to himself for a while until he knows what he's supposed to do with this information. Because, as he says to Sam, like, that's treason. And Sam says, "No, it's the truth. She shouldn't be
Yeah.
queen. You're the rightful king of the Seven Kingdoms."
Yeah.
So that's a big chunk of information to swallow and to accept. So it might take some time before he and Dany actually talk about it, or they might go straight into it in the next episode and just deal with it straight off the bat. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Then we are moving into like segments of the episode, and it's where we see, because I've been so curious about this, because the last episode of season 7 we see the wall getting smashed, not knowing what happens to the people who's there. And we go back to the north and we see Beric Dondarrion and Tormund lurking in what is revealed to be the last hearth.
Yes.
And they meet
headed back home to.
Yeah, to get his men to Winterfell. And then they meet up with some men from the Night's Watch. I believe that the guy there is called Ed, I think.
Yeah, Dolores Ed.
Yeah. And they discover that the Umber, and we discovered that the Umber is basically in pieces. Yeah. What I found from this scene was the reaction from Ed when he saw Tormund. "Kill him! He has blue eyes!" And I'm like, no! I knew that they weren't going to kill Tormund, but knowing Game of Thrones right, that is basically a foreshadowing of what's to come. And I'm like, no! I don't want to lose Tormund. I don't want him to die. Well, he's one of my favorite characters. And
he might die.
I know, and it's so sad.
Well, but at least he's not gonna die yet. That's what we know so far. It was like, I was expecting the jump scare. Like when he was standing there talking, while you could see like the poor young Lord Umber being like hung up on the wall. And then his eyes went open. I was like, "Ah, fuck."
I was waiting for it because it's the exact same thing that happens in the scene of the first season. Where there's some Night's Watchmen that goes up in the north somewhere, and they find the child who's pinned to a tree. Yeah. And it's the same thing. So I was just like, but I actually squat.
Yeah, you jumped.
I jumped, yeah. Even though I knew it was coming, but it was just because Tormund was standing there with his back to it. And I was like, no, Tormund, no. And I just saw it, and I was like, no.
Not yet. I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. Don't kill him now.
Cece Tori was at the premiere showing in Oslo, and she says that the cinema cheered when we first saw Tormund on the screen because Christopher Hivju was there.
Yeah. And there's one thing I want to say about, and Beth Cunard and Christina Edding, they were hired to make 4 Knights White Walker armor pieces that was used during during the cinema show thingy. Yeah. And you can see Elizabeth standing on the red carpet flossing with some of the White Walkers, and Christopher Hivju has actually filmed it and posted it on his Instagram.
That's really cool.
But I have like a screen capture of what he wrote, and it's really funny. I was supposed to say this at the beginning, but I forgot it, so we have to do it now instead.
Let's do it now.
He wrote, "How thrones should end. Sansa, because Elizabeth was wearing a red wig. Sansa teaches a White Walker how to floss dance while the Night King is chilling in the background. Hashtag after party, hashtag premiere, blah blah blah. And then there's a bunch of people just coasting like, is that Sansa's stunt double? That's not Sansa. That's not Sansa Stark. That's not Sophie Turner. It's like, people, it's a cosplay, and it's not even Sansa cosplay. No. It's just a person with red hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
people are easy to mislead, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. No, but it was really funny. So go to Hivyu's Instagram account, and you'll see the editing. One of the editings are represented there. It's awesome.
Yeah. Cece says, yeah, they went to the after party.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been to an after party.
I also forget to mention one thing when we talked about Cersei earlier. Mm-hmm. Her dress! Oh my gosh!
Yes.
It was so cool. That's like the first costume change, like major costume change we've seen. Mm. I was expecting so many more new costumes, but this is like the first one, and I'm like excited about it.
Yeah. I still haven't made a Game of Thrones cosplay. I've been thinking about making a Game of Thrones cosplay since it first aired on TV. That is like 7 years of procrastinating right there.
I have to. This is halfway done though, so I have 1.5. And I have one makeup test for Marjorie that I did once, and I've deleted all the pictures of it because it sucks. I'm gonna do it again someday, I think. And I also have a wig that I can do a Dany makeup test at some point.
I have a Sansa wig. It's just that all of her dresses are so fucking complicated. Ugh.
I think I have a pattern, actually.
Well, if you do, you can send it my way, because then I can maybe make a dress. Because I think I could do a decent Sansa.
I think you could too.
I do have a Cersei appropriate wig as well, but I might cut it because I'm going to do a Zelda Spellman cosplay, and it needs curls and to be shorter, so...
That sounds nice. Okay, back to the story here. Because we're going to talk about costume places later. I have it in my notes.
Cece says, mood anytime.
Yes. Hell yeah. But like, what do we think of like the symbol? Because we have seen the symbol before. What does it mean? I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's the circle with...
It kind of looks like a sun. Or
it kind of looks like a sun.
I think I know what it is. I think it is the same pattern as you see when the Night King is made for the first time by the Children of the Forest. They take a bird's eye shot, and he's tied to a tree, so the tree is in the center, and then there are like stones patterned around the tree. So I think that's the pattern that they've recreated on the wall at the last hearth.
So maybe they do that when they make new White Walkers, or when they make important White Walkers.
Maybe, or maybe it was just, maybe it's just something that stuck in the Night King's head, and it's just become like this message of like, yes, we were here, better watch out kind of thing.
They have also used it beyond the wall when they placed a bunch of horses, like parts of horses in the same kind of pattern. But it's hard to tell. I think we're gonna see it more, and at least we know that the White Walkers has been there. And one piece of information that's really important too is that we now know that the White Walkers are between the Last Hearth and Winterfell. So that basically means that we have Jon here, the White Walkers, and Christopher Hivju behind there. And I'm like, no!
How are they going to make it on time to warn them?
They said something. The crows said something about them having extra horses.
Yeah.
So, and also, if you have seen the preview of the next episode, you'll know that Tormund and Jon will talk to each other.
Yes. They will be there in time, but it will be like this close.
Yeah. After what I've heard, episode 3 will be the big battle of Winterfell. So
I think that's one of the big battles we'll see this season for sure.
Yes.
There will be several.
Yes. Okay, the last thing though, and I feel so stupid, and I actually really love that I feel so stupid about this thing that happens is that we're back at Winterfell and we see a lot of people that comes into Winterfell from wherever, probably refugees and stuff.
Yeah.
And we have that hooded figure on a horse. Who did you think it was?
Oh, I immediately was like, that's Jaime.
I didn't think that at all. I was like, oh, it must be Benjen Stark or something.
No.
Even though, like, we saw him die the last season, but I was hoping, I guess.
No, I was just like, yeah, totally. A lonely rider with his cloak up doesn't want us to see who he is when he enters Winterfell. Yeah, that's totes Jaime.
Yeah, no, I thought it was Benjen because Benjen, you know, he's kind of a White Walker-ish. Yeah. His face is all a bit rotted and stuff. So I thought, like, maybe he has some secret thing that he has to say, or I don't know. But then it all made sense, because when Sam and Bran had their talk, he was like, I'm waiting for an old friend. And I'm like, Bran. And here is the reason I think Bran is still Bran. Yeah. Bran has been sitting out there waiting for Jaime. And if he was 100% the Three-Eyed Raven, he wouldn't do that, because the Three-Eyed Raven wouldn't care about Jaime. No, but Bran does.
Sort of. I mean, Bran is the boy who lived.
Yeah.
And he's
so does he...
He's staring at the man who took away his legs.
Oh, yeah. So... But he's also the reason why he became what he became.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting. And, I mean, we've reached the end of the episode, so we can talk a little bit about the preview of next week's episode. And it's basically Tormund Giantsbane telling Jon that, oh, they're coming, and they're coming, like, between tonight and tomorrow and this morning, or something like that. So basically soon.
I'm betting that's something that's going to happen at the end of the next episode. Because I think the big battle is going to happen in episode 3, and it's gonna be basically the whole episode, just like the Battle of the Bastards was basically the whole episode.
For sure. I think the battle is gonna be the whole 3rd episode, but it might also happen in the beginning of the episode to give people time to prepare for what's coming.
Oh yeah.
Like you'll see people getting into war mode, and like at the end of episode 2, you'll see the Night King's army marching on Winterfell, and people will be standing on the walls and like, oh fuck, here they come.
Oh yeah.
That could happen. So we'll see.
And also, I think there's going to be a lot of establishing the drama between the and Sansa and Dany and Jon, and we're going to get to see where people are standing.
And I seem to recall that there's also a bit where Jaime is basically being judged by Sansa.
Oh yeah.
In the Great
I can't
Hall.
wait. Oh. I just can't wait. This meeting is going to be grand. And I just loved the face of Jaime when he saw Bran. Mm-hmm. It was just like complete and utter horror.
Yeah, like fuck.
And I also like Jaime's change from the first episode to season 8. Mm-hmm. He used to be blonde, for one thing. Now he's kind of dark blonde, grayish, which is an interesting choice.
He's worn out. He doesn't have the same like shine and glow as he used to have back in the day.
Yeah. I'm also interested in seeing Brienne maybe speaking a little bit more up, because she didn't have much screen time the last episode at all. So I think I'm really looking forward. I think it's going to be a mostly talk episode, but I also think we're going to see Yara taking over the Iron Islands.
Yeah, I was just
That's
about
what I'm
to
thinking.
Say that. If there is any action, it is most likely Yara taking back the Iron Islands, and maybe we'll get to see a little bit of Tormund just like hurrying towards Winterfell to try to get there on time. But beyond that, I think you're right. I think there's going to be mostly talk.
Yeah. So, and I'm also very excited to see where is the Red Lady coming in, because
will she ever return?
She has to, because she hasn't really left Seven Kingdoms.
Wasn't she banished? Wasn't she like told by Jon to pack up her shit and leave?
Yes, but she told Varys that she's supposed to die
Yeah.
in Westeros.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's
So she's
probably
not
still
going home.
somewhere. And that's an interesting thing because a lot of people seem to think that Jon is the prince that was promised.
There's so many theories around that.
That he is Azor Ahai.
Jaime, there's theories about Jaime. There's theories about Hound being Azor Ahai because he too has been born in fire or whatever it was.
And then Jon, and some are saying Daenerys could be like the princess that was promised.
Yeah, because in High Valyrian there aren't genders.
Yeah. So that's a possibility too. I mean, for all we know, Arya or Sansa could be the one. We have no fucking clue. But
I think also there's stories. I think all the guys that went beyond the wall, almost all of them have could be the Azor Ahai.
Yeah.
The Hound, Beric, Jon. Who else? I don't think there's Tormund, but he had to be there because he's awesome.
I don't think Jaime is Azor Ahai either.
No, but there's a lot of theories around it, and a lot of theories supporting it as well.
Could be wrong. But yeah, there are a lot of prophecies, CC, I agree. We can't remember all of them, but we remember like bits of them.
Oh yeah, I was way more into this last season.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Lord of Light, I think, will definitely have something to say during the last season, because if he doesn't, all of Melisandre's presence throughout the show will have been kind of wasted time.
Yeah, but same with all of the talk of the Lord of Light.
Yeah.
We met several priestesses and priests.
Yeah. We kind of need some closure on the whole Lord of Light and the prince that was promised thing, for sure.
Oh, yeah. But what do we think of the episode as a whole? Did we like it?
Yeah, I mean, for a first episode with a lot of setup, it was really good because I wasn't bored. I wasn't waiting for the action to happen or anything. I was just like so happy to see my favorite characters again and
them meeting each other.
Yes.
I really loved them meeting each other. Like the Sansa Tyrion scene, it was really just them two alone. The Arya Jon scene, the Arya Gendry, Arya Hound.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
So yeah, I just really want to see Brienne and Jaime because I just really love their dynamic together.
I would love for the two of them to meet again. Like, it's been a long time since we saw Brienne.
What will Tormund say? I mean, he will be heartbroken. Oh gosh.
I love that so much. Cece says, I thought it was a good start to the season. Yes.
Agreed. It was a very slow-paced but very exciting start. Like, I sat through there cheering. I've seen the episode 3 times. I mean, I got up early in the morning to see it before I had to go to work, but then HBO was down and I was like, no!
Because I bet you a lot of other people were trying to see it before they got to work too.
I think so too, but I started at 12, so I was doing it like around 9, 10-ish. So I managed to see 30 minutes before I had to leave. But I know... I could see it again. It was great.
Yeah, no, I've seen it twice, and I'm not bored yet. So
no, but I don't think, as of clues and secrets, I don't think they used a lot of that.
No.
It's just a lot of typical, Game of Thrones style things going in loops, things happening all over again. The only theory that I got out of it was, the opening titles with the image of the White Walker holding the wolf's head and the hanged wolf with arrows sticking out of it and the lion. That's basically the only reason I have for thinking the Starks will die.
Cece, you are the only one who's commenting right now. I think Lucia Farah is watching still, but she's not active in the chat. But there's not, a whole bunch of people watching this stream right now, so that's why.
That's why.
That's why.
Yes, this is a little bit more special CosCast episode for the...
Very niche, very much niche.
Yes. Not everyone loves Game of Thrones this much.
No, not as
And
much
not
as
everyone
we
loves
do.
and not everyone needs to talk about it. But
No,
we do. We
we
want
do.
to talk about it
We
so
have
much.
to. But it's good because it helps me, like, I mean, for the first 6 seasons, I didn't really talk much about it, or we didn't have like a Game of Spoilers thing going. But I feel
No.
like doing the Game of Spoilers helps me notice things in the episodes more and look for other things in episodes to come. And well, it just gives me an outlet to talk about Game of Thrones with someone who actually cares.
Also, hype. Hype!
Yes!
Oh no, I thought you were reading comments and I was, what?
No, I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
it's
reading
because
yours because you're special.
we're just like you,
Yeah.
waiting for you to reply.
Yeah.
But we have talked a little bit about our favorite moments.
Yeah.
What's your favorite moment, Cece? We want to
Yeah.
know.
Tell us.
Who do we think will die this season? Now I'm just moving on to predictions. Like, right from the bat, is there any major characters we think is going to die? Absolutely certain during this season.
As you said, I think Tormund is a pretty safe bet. I think he's gonna die at some point.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe Jon Snow dies again and comes back.
Maybe.
I think that could happen.
Could.
And Cece, you can take some time to think about it, because you don't we can talk while you think about what is your favorite moment from the episode.
Oh yeah.
She also says, I feel like Dany will die. That is a possibility.
It is, but I think not before she has met Cersei.
No, I think
it needs to be a Cersei Dany showdown.
Yeah.
But I do think that Jon Snow or Aerys Targaryen.
Die. I'm pretty sure that either Jon or Aegon.
Aegon, yeah.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that Aegon or Dany will die or be betrayed, or, something dramatic will happen to one of them, at least, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I think it still is like the song of Ice and Fire, and I think Jon is ice and Aerys is...
For sure. But, I mean, like, if he is the prince that was promised, he will be able to die and be resurrected several times, because he is the chosen one of the Lord of Light.
Basically like Beric.
Yeah, basically like Beric Dondarrion. So, and as he said, like, when you come back, you're a little bit less than you were before you died. So
yeah,
that might be the case with Jon Snow.
Oh yeah. C-Story says that someone said maybe Jon was brought back to die at the right moment.
That makes sense. Yes. Yeah.
Does.
Totally. Because I mean, it's like living on borrowed time when you've died once already.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will die. I think the question really should be, who do we think will survive?
Yeah.
Who do we think will survive throughout to the last episode of this season?
I think Arya.
I hope Arya.
And potentially Sansa, because she's a smart cookie. But
I think Sansa will die.
Yeah, she might have gotten too arrogant, and maybe she'll go down as the Lady of Winterfell, like...
Yeah, I think she's gonna go down with Chip.
She might. That's very possible.
Because I think Ned Stark would have done that. And I think Sansa is the most Stark of all the Starks.
Yeah, right now she definitely is.
So I think Sansa will die.
Yeah. Bran, I'm not so sure about. He might survive all the way till the end, or he might...
It all depends on what the whole thing is. Like, is Bran the Night King, or is he not?
I personally don't think that he is.
I have no idea what to think.
Because, I mean, the only way Bran could be the Night King is if he went back in time and warged into the mind of the guy who was created as the original Night King, and then... The Night King, died or got turned while he was still inside the Night King's head.
Oh yeah.
And then if it just, to me that it seems like a too much of a grasp, Because if Bran was still inside the Night King and he wanted to kill himself, it would be very easy for him to do that.
Yeah, but he doesn't know yet, so
no. So, but
it's hard to tell.
It's hard for me to think that that's the truth of it, but who knows? I mean, weirder things have happened.
But it's what we know is that every time Bran tries to spy on the Night King sees him.
Yeah, because the Night King can also see the future and the past.
Yeah.
And because they've touched each other, he can interact with Bran in these visions.
Yeah. So there's some interesting things that will be revealed. I'm really looking forward to see what will the story, how the story will come together. And I'm also very interested in knowing and if and when the books comes out, how far off will the books be to the series. If they ever come out.
Cece says, I don't know, I loved every character meeting moment. And I feel like Sansa will either die in Winterfell or possibly sit on the throne at the end. That's my secret wish. Like, if anyone sits on the throne at the end, I want it to be Sansa.
I want it to be Arya. No, but Sansa, yeah, same. But I think Sansa will go down with Winterfell. Yeah,
probably. Arya, I don't think would sit on the throne. She doesn't want to rule.
No, but I think she wants to just secretly sit on it, just to feel how it feels like, and then get off. Like, when everyone's in bed, she'll just sneak up and sit on the throne, just to feel how it feels, and be like, what's this all about?
Yeah. Why would you want to
feels
sit
like
on
a cold chair?
Yeah.
No, but but have we heard any rumors about? I haven't heard any rumors per se. The only rumor I've heard is that the big Battle of Winterfell will happen in episode 3.
Yeah, that's the only one I've heard too, so far.
And the outrageous theory I've heard is about Littlefinger not being dead, as I discussed a little bit earlier, that he actually is alive. Which I secretly hope. I would love to see him back because he's just a great character. I hated him. Yeah. It was a very sad. I loved the death scene of him. It was nice to see that character getting off because he's so awful. But still, he was a very great character and one of my favorites. So if it's true that he actually is still alive, then yeah.
That's a good point, though, Cece. The pack survives. Yeah, Sansa and Arya are technically the only Starks left and should stick together.
And they have a very pack mentality right now, which is good. Do we have any cosplay plans so far from this season? Is there anything that we want to cosplay? Have we seen and or anything that we would?
No, unfortunately.
No, same.
I mean, like, I really like the silhouette of Daenerys's clothes. I'm just not very keen on making anything in fur.
No.
I mean, I liked Cersei's new outfit, but I wouldn't want to make it because it's not gonna look good on me. That kind of.
I would love to see that dress. Like, I think Christina Edding made a version of that dress, kind of ish, on one weekend before the premiere, like a spur of the moment thing, and it looked amazing. But I think we're gonna see some great dresses from Cersei this season as well, just like the last time. And the only thing that annoys me is that people are like, after I started cosplaying, it's so obvious when people are wearing wigs.
Yes.
You can see the lace. And Cersei has one of the, Cersei's short wig is one of the worst wigs I've seen in a show ever. It's so obvious that she has other hair under. And also maybe from being a hairdresser, I just know that that's not a natural way for hair to be lying. So...
Cece says, I mean, there aren't much new cosplay material. I want to make one of Sansa's latest dresses. The struggle is finding fry fabric. Yes, for sure. And that's the problem. Like, I love Sansa's dresses, but they're just very heavy and they're going to be very warm and very constricting, and I can't wear those kinds of outfits for longer periods of time because of my body would basically like be exhausted from the pressure of wearing it.
Yeah, I get that.
So, but maybe like if she got something that was a little bit more simplistic, or maybe if she got like some sort of like armor, like battle regalia, I don't know, maybe something like that would be cool.
But there's a leaked picture of a Sansa dress in some sort of leather armor-esque top.
Yeah.
But the fabric underneath still looks very
expensive,
thick and full. So
yeah. No, so I've been like, the closest thing I've gotten so far is maybe like doing one of the early dresses for Daenerys or Sansa. Like Daenerys, when she is in Marine and things, has like very simple sleeveless dresses with just a ring around her neck or something like that. I think that could be doable for me, or one of the dresses Sansa wears when she is in King's Landing that has a lot of sleeve, because the fabrics are still light and it's fairly straightforward, just complicated sewing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, one of the wrap dresses, as CC Tori says, it would be easy to take on and off.
Yeah, I have wrap dresses, because that's basically what I based Lysandra dress on, with some modifications, just because her dress is I think I based my Melisandre dress on a Cersei dress, actually.
Which is they're basically the same. You just change some things.
Oh yeah, just change some things. The only thing that didn't really work was the boob region, so I have to wear like a shirt underneath. But hey, I don't care. It doesn't have to be. It's not a competition dress anyway. So
no, but it's like, yeah, sometimes you just forget to take into account that there are different chest sizes.
Yes, works like, different ways.
Why is this so small? It doesn't look like that in the picture. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Yeah, you can read it.
No, go on. Okay. Go on.
Sophie Turner kept her corset that she wore in Game of Thrones. Huh. Not that she'd need it. She's, but that brings me to one of the like cosplay pet peeves, is like all the actresses say, "Oh, corsets are so terribly uncomfortable. I will never wear it again." And it's like, well then, bitch, you didn't get the right corset. Then it wasn't made right. Then they skimped in the costume department and didn't make one specifically for you, because corsets are not meant to be super uncomfortable. You're supposed to walk around in that shit all day long.
Yeah, but they're also supposed to be restricting. Yes. You aren't supposed to climbing trees and run around and do gymnastics in them.
No.
So they will be restricting, and in that sense, a little bit uncomfortable.
But they're not supposed to be so uncomfortable that you get like bruises from wearing them.
Oh no. That you're not supposed to.
So yeah, they are restrictive, and you will feel tight. You can't run, because then you'll be like, but
you aren't supposed to get, physical marks on your body from wearing one.
No.
But I think sometimes cosplayers, who's not a professional on the matter, people who just does things on a hobby basis, kind of do things just because they think they have to, and not necessarily always take in consideration health, for one thing.
Yeah.
And also, if you haven't, read up things, it's easy to do things the wrong way.
Yeah.
To say it like that, and hurt yourself instead. It's the same thing with binders.
You gotta be careful with that stuff.
Oh yeah. I don't think I have any more questions, really. The only thing I have, what do we think will happen at the finale? And for me personally, I think it's too early to say, because it can go so many ways. I needed to kind of start.
More input.
Yeah, because this episode has just been tying things together, but they haven't put it in a direction yet. The only direction is the drama between, Jon and Daenerys that is coming, and Sansa matter. But I'm really hoping that Jon will stick with the Starks and Dany will have to kind of put her pride aside, which I'm not sure she can, because she can be erratic, as Tyrion has stated earlier. I hope Tyrion survives, though.
Yeah, I would like to see Tyrion survive. Varys also is a guy who constantly looks after himself, but I don't know if he will be able to outlive the Night Walkers.
No, I just struggle with finding a reason Varys could do. He's a good character, but he's not like a fan favorite, so I think he will die.
Yeah, I think so too. He probably will.
And Podrick too.
Yeah, that's right, Podrick. I haven't seen him in a while.
No, but I think he will die.
Yeah, probably.
I really hope Brienne will survive, but I think she will die, but not in Winterfell. I think she will survive to at least go to King's Landing.
Yeah, I think she'll be crucial in keeping Sansa alive. So she'll probably sacrifice herself for Sansa if she has to, or for Jaime. Or maybe Jaime sacrifices himself for Brienne at some point. Who knows?
Who knows? Or maybe Brienne is left in Winterfell with Sansa.
Yeah, maybe she will take like a last stand because like I promised your mother I would keep you safe, sort of thing.
But it's both her daughters though.
Yeah. No, we need more info. We can't make any proper predictions before we've seen a couple more episodes, I think.
No. I think so as well. We need more. I think the next episode of this, for my part, it works on Wednesday next week. Because on Thursday I'm at work, so I think we're going to try to keep this on either Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Yeah, if work gets in the way or life gets in the way, it'll be on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. But let's assume Wednesday is the day.
Yes, at least next time.
Yes, so 7 o'clock next Wednesday, we'll be back with another game of spoilers.
Story's like, no, not Wednesday. I'm sorry. Thursday nor Friday, so it has to be a Wednesday. Oh, it's the Avengers premiere. Okay, maybe try and figure something out, but
do it on Tuesday potentially.
Yeah, we could do it on Tuesday. That will be very straight after the episode,
yes,
but
we would have to work fast.
But we can manage.
We can do it.
We can do it.
Yeah. That just means we have to watch the episodes twice on Monday. One just to enjoy the episode, and the second one to take notes.
Oh yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. Always. So, what does Tuesday? Does that work with you, CC Tori? If you want to see this, we are willing to
bend the rules for you, honey.
Yeah.
Tuesday is the 23rd.
23rd?
Yeah. Should be good with me.
Should we? Yes, haha, she says. Good.
All right. Then it's time for us to end the stream. We've been doing this for nearly 2 hours now. Which
was the goal time, though.
It was. So we're right on time. No overcast necessary. Which is great. Go us. Right. So we'll see you next Tuesday at 7.
7.
Yes. And yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
And remember. The internet is dark and full of spoilers.
Yes.
And you can buy that t-shirt on our Teespring store.
Yes, for sure. We should have had a screen share ready of that. I was going to wear that t-shirt today, actually, but I forgot.
I have it somewhere. I don't know where it is right now.
We'll post a link to it on our Facebook page. So if you're interested in getting a very swanky black t-shirt that says the internet is dark and full of spoilers, head on over to the CosCast on Facebook, and you'll find a link to it there.
Yes, you will.
Then it's time to say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.